when I was getting ready for today's show, I was hoping it'd be kind of a slow news day because I've seen a lot of other NFL teams already start to deal with injuries after day one of training camp. But unfortunately, the Browns were not spared from that. So we got a lot of ground to cover on today's show. Some of it good, some of it not so good. But nevertheless, make sure to subscribe. Every time we get some training camp updates, highlights, practices, reports, we're going to inform you guys all about your favorite team. So make sure to subscribe. Help us reach 35,000 subscribers strong. Day one of Cleveland Browns training camp from the Greenbrier Resort in West Virginia is in the books, and it came with a lot of news. A lot of it not good news, some good news, but a lot of news. So let's start with some good news compared to at least what we're going to get to next, which is Kevin Stefanski will call plays. Maybe you think that's good, maybe you don't, but I guarantee you think it's better than what we're going to get to next on the show. Nevertheless, though, Stefanski will continue to call plays for this team. He gave a very politician-type answer when asked how he landed on that decision. I thought initially Stefanski would call plays when they hired Ken Dorsey. That was sort of the strength of his coaching makeup, and I didn't think he'd want to give that up. And then as time went on and they didn't make an announcement, I thought maybe they're going to hand it over to Ken Dorsey and they'll just wait to announce it closer to week one. But no, Stefanski's first time speaking to the media in 6-7 weeks, and he slips in, yeah, by the way, I know you guys are eager to know, I'm going to continue to call plays. He talked about how Dorsey will still have a big role on this offense or the staff, talk about getting ready for more than just Sunday, but also helping the team prepare for the entire week, helping Stefanski be the best version of himself. So Kevin Stefanski will call plays. I'm not upset by this. I know that not everyone sees eye to eye on Stefanski as a play caller. Has he had a history of overthinking it at times and having Jacoby Brissett unload a deep ball on 3rd or 4th and 1 against the Bengals, was it? Yeah, that has happened from time to time, but all in all, I don't think the Browns won 11 games last year with 5 different quarterbacks without having a good guy pressing the right buttons, and that was Stefanski. So personally, I'm very on board with Stefanski retaining play calling duties. So that's a piece of good news, depending on how you look at it. Another piece of good news is Deshaun Watson was practicing. So Stefanski said that it's going to be a little bit more up-tempo than it was in the spring where he was alternating days, Watson was, of throwing and not throwing. My guess is it's going to be a 75% throwing, 25% not throwing early on in training camp. And then as we get into the preseason and whatnot, hopefully it's all the way up to 100% for Deshaun Watson. I thought Watson looked crisp. I thought he looked good with the football today. He had accuracy. He had velocity. He looked, in short, himself. So there is no ginormous story from Deshaun Watson's first day at training camp. No bad passes. Wasn't the greatest practice of his life either. But Watson looked himself, and that was really nice to see because the rest of the day was filled with some not so good news. So the bad news, injuries are not going away. Greg Newsome and Dalvin Tomlinson were both on either the PUP or the NFI list to open up training camp, and that kind of came out of nowhere. Stefanski announced that today Greg Newsome already underwent hamstring surgery. They hope to have him back by week 1, and Dalvin Tomlinson will be going under the knife as well. He'll be getting arthroscopic knee surgery tomorrow, but he didn't sound quite as optimistic. Not that he sounded very optimistic about Newsome either, about when his return could be. So hopeful was the word that they could see them back by week 1 against the Cowboys. What is that, September 8th? But yeah, you can look at the Browns PUP list along with the NFI list as well, which includes Greg Newsome and Nyheim Hines. We knew about Chubb, we knew about Conklin and Wills, Bell, Tomlinson, and Newsome all came out of nowhere, and I was hoping, all right, well, maybe they just kind of tweak something working out over the 6-week summer break, and the Browns are just being cautious. No, not the case. It's a bummer. I don't know how else to put it. It's a big-time bummer to see Dalvin Tomlinson dealing with a knee injury, because anytime you get the big fellas with joint issues, I mean, those joints are already working overtime, putting up with 335 pounds above them. So that's concerning, especially just to open up the year, right? Going into the season already having a knee injury, It's not going to get any easier after 6, 7 games and the wear and tear on your body throughout the NFL season. Same goes for Greg Newsome. That's a position where you need to be quick and shifty and nimble, and a lot of that requires really strong lower leg muscles and your hamstring. And to already have a hamstring issue going into the season, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not good. It's not ideal. It's not insurmountable. It's not something they can't overcome, but I won't pretend like it's nothing. It is something, and it sucks, and it's the 2024 Cleveland Browns picking up where they left off, already in midseason form. And I don't think there's anyone or anything to point blame to. Maybe the almighty above, but I don't know if the Browns are practicing on some Indian burial ground or what, but they are continuing to be a cursed team. And part of my French, it fucking sucks. So there's that. Let's talk Jedrick Wills. Didn't get any real updates from Stefanski during his presser on Chubb, Wills, or Conklin. They're all coming back from different injuries, so it is fair. I know we as fans, media, whatever, kind of like to lump all the injured guys together and hope that they all have similar timelines, but no, we did not get any concrete update as to when we'll see Jedrick Wills back. I'd like to see him back ASAP. I mean, of course, we'd see everyone back ASAP, but Jedrick Wills especially, he's coming off a knee surgery and younger in his career, first major knee injury to my recollection. Hopefully that kind of puts together a good case for him coming back on the sooner end, especially because we saw a little bit of him in the spring, so I thought the arrow was pointing up, and now I'm not so sure when we're going to see him. I'd like to see Jack Conklin back soon. I've got a lot more patience with Conklin than Wills. He's a little bit older. This is his third major knee injury. I think he can get a little bit more slack, and I think he is someone that doesn't need NFL training camp. Where Wills, he's no rookie or young player either. He's going into year 5, but he's had a little bit more of a turbulent start to his career. I'm much more comfortable with the idea of Conklin just being able to kind of pick up where he left off and not needing as much runway to get going. Wills, I think he needs that runway. As for Nick Chubb, the ongoing theme amongst the Browns and everyone that follows this team is don't bet against Nick Chubb. So if Nick Chubb is looking for motivation to come back and play as early as week 1 because the haters think he can't do it, Nick, let me be your motivation. I don't think Nick Chubb will play week 1. Clip that. Send that to Chubb now. Let him watch that every night before he goes to bed. And when he runs out of the tunnel week 1, throw tomatoes at me. I am happy to fall on my YouTube sword if that means we get Nick Chubb back week 1. I might just start tweeting at Nick Chubb, I don't think you'll play at all this year. If he needs that extra motivation, by all means, let me be the source of it. So, what do you guys think? Will Nick Chubb play week 1? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no down in the comments section. I'm kind of optimistic. I feel like he has been eyeing that week 1 tunnel with the American flag in his right hand. And I just can kind of close my eyes and picture it. So, some wishful thinking, but I'm kind of in the Y for yes column. Now, before we get on to the rest of today's show, I do want to tell everyone watching about our wonderful sponsor, Game Time. They are back with us here at the Cleveland Browns Report, and I want all of our great viewers to check them out. Because if you're trying to go catch a Guardians game, or you want to go see a Browns preseason game, or any other sporting event in your area, get started with the Game Time app today. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. Now, something I like about Game Time is the Game Time guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets, but with Game Time, when you download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. So some other players that I don't think we can put on the injury list, but they did not practice on the first day of training camp, which, by the way, the practice was about an hour long. It was more of just a, hey, let's kind of shake the cobwebs off and have everyone get loose after the short flight from Cleveland to, I don't know if they fly right into White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. That's where the Greenbrier Resort is, but somewhere in that neck of the woods. Jerome Ford was not present. He was excused with a personal matter. The Browns expect to have him join them soon, so hopefully everything is okay with Ford. David Njoku was not really on the field much during day one of training camp, along with Myles Garrett. Cam Mitchell also working to the side. No real updates on these guys. Not sure how severe of anything they are working through, but just watching the videos of them kind of hanging out, working and stretching on the sideline. Like, they're not hanging out. They're not over there just throwing the football casually, but they look to be in good spirits. I think it's just, hey, it's July 25th. We don't need to push anyone that doesn't feel 100%. Jerry Jeudy was initially working on the side, and then he joined the first-team offense, or what's left of the first-team offense, because you had James Hudson in at left tackle for Jed Wills. So you don't have Nick Chubb out there. You don't have David Njoku out there. But he eventually joined the offense, which was great because we missed him for all of mandatory minicamp with some undisclosed injury. So hopefully whatever that was or is no longer bothering him, and we'll get full Jerry Jeudy soon, because this is a big gamble the Browns made, right? Not only do they give up some draft capital for him, but just a fifth and a sixth. That's not a huge roll of the dice. But they've already extended him to a 3-year contract worth a good chunk of change, $50+ million, before he even took a snap for this team. So the Browns have made a sizable investment, and they're hoping it'll pay off. If Jerry Jeudy puts up 1,000 yards and 5-6 touchdowns, he would have gotten way more than what he got in his extension on the open market after his fifth-year option is up after this season. Myles Garrett was working on the side. I remember during minicamp he was dealing with a hamstring injury, so I'm not quite sure if that same hamstring is bothering him now or if it's just, hey, when you've been in the league for this long and you've been this good and you just won NFL Defensive Player of the Year, we don't really need to see you in July. We don't need to risk it. We don't need to push it. We think that whatever you want to work on to get yourself in the best football shape, that's fine with us, and we fully trust that you'll be ready to go at game speed when week one rolls around. So I'm not losing any sleep over Myles Garrett. The guy is Superman. I truly believe he is invincible, and we're going to see him hopefully ready to roll soon. So the good news after that somewhat depressing video is it is July 25th. Like, losing Greg Newsome and Dalvin Tomlinson for probably all of training camp in the preseason sucks. I'm not going to beat around the bush here and try and be half glass full, other than it's July 25th. So we are 6 weeks away from week one against the Cowboys. Like, there's a lot of time for these guys to get healthy and rehab and get back on the field. And if they do miss some regular season time, hopefully it's not much, right? If you start to think, all right, they missed 2 months coming back from a hamstring surgery, which Stefanski says they're hopeful he'll be back by week one. If it does bleed into the regular season, it shouldn't bleed much into it, but it's a bummer. There's no way around it, and just fingers crossed that everyone can either get healthy or stay healthy that already is healthy. All right, well, that will do it for us on today's show. I appreciate everyone. I think we got to everything. No, there is one other note I wanted to make. Amari Cooper spoke to the media. It was his first time speaking to the media after his subtle, not really holdout, but I guess holdout from minicamp. So anywho, he spoke to the media today, and he talked about what the contract dispute was over. He said he was looking for more guaranteed money for the final year of his contract. He said the way that the contract was structured, he could have gotten injured in training camp, been cut, and got no money at all. So he didn't want to run that risk. So I don't blame him for that. But I'm sure he also loved $5 million in incentives being added to it. For reference, the Broncos wide receiver Courtland Sutton, he was in a similar-ish boat of Amari Cooper, of looking for more just cash or some type of restructure to his deal. Denver gave him $1.2, $1.5 million available in incentives. So a big difference between that and what Cooper got. Cooper also said that he would love to finish his career with the Browns. So he does not have a crystal ball, but he doesn't like change, and he's happy where he is right now. He likes working with Watson and Stefanski, so he doesn't know what the future holds because he will be a free agent at the end of the season. Although I do want to note that Amari Cooper did have his contract breakdown released, and the Browns added a bunch of void years onto that deal, but they can have those void years filled with actual years of service if they were to extend Amari Cooper. If they don't extend him before his contract voids in March, there's going to be like a $20 million dead cap hit awaiting the Browns next year. That's a big dead cap hit. So I'm not quite sure if the Browns' plan all along is to find a way to extend him, or if they are prepared to let him walk and take on a $20 million dead cap hit just to free up more cap space for this year. So a lot of salary cap mumbo jumbo that every time I think I have a good understanding of the cap, I learn there's a lot more to it that I don't know. All right. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, drop a CLE for me in the comment section. I know we were all looking forward to football returning. It's not back yet, but it is returning. And, just getting the pads on and watching your favorite team go out there to start the 2024 season. And this is not the most ideal start to training camp, but hopefully everyone can just kind of get back to square one in terms of health, and we don't have to deal with any more injuries over the next few weeks. All right, we're going to wrap up the show by picking a card. I got producer Reed with me again today. Which card do you want to go with, Reed?
Let's go with 10 of spades.
10 of spades? I will go with the 4 of clubs. What'd you say? 10 of diamonds! Oh, no. That's a tough, bad beat right there. Sorry, Reed. All right, that will do it for us on today's show. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I'll see you all later.